Court, FCC-ORD.
Okay.
Thank you. Judge Nicole Blank-Becker on behalf of Mr. Kelly.
Rayed Shalabi, Raed Shalabi, on behalf of Mr. Kelly.
Steve Greenberg on behalf of Mr. Kelly.
All right. And the record will indicate Mr. Kelly's present in the courtroom. Before we start, I just want to thank the Marshal Service for accommodating the court today. After the last court date, I received a call from the Marshal's office indicating that they would accommodate the court and have Mr. Kelly brought over on each and every court date. So I wanted to thank the Marshal Service for that accommodation to this court. All right. With that, where are we at first as far as discovery, or what do you have?
As far as discovery, we did tender today the bulk of the documents that will come from the Chicago Police Department. There are some materials that are outstanding from the Chicago Police Department, as well as some 417 materials from the lab. And we have a disc of the 2002 file that we're going to copy and tender. So I believe on the next court date we should be complete.
Okay.
The 2002 file, meaning the court file or everything?
Are the reports.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then what do you have as far as discovery? Any issues regarding discovery that you want to bring to my attention before we get to the bond issues with these motions?
None at this point, Judge. I mean, we're obviously still going through all of the materials, and with the other two federal cases that are out there, we've been inundated with the materials. So
Okay.
we're going through all of it.
All right. I guess the next issue that we have is first I'll deal with the state's motion, which they filed prior to the last court date to increase Mr. Kelly's bond. The state filed their motion. The defense filed a response to the motion. Do you have anything in addition to what you set forth in your motion to increase the bond?
Not really in addition, Judge, just the fact that when the original bonds were set on the 4 cases, the court that was setting bond wasn't aware of all the other charges that have now since been filed, both in the Northern District here in Chicago, the Eastern District of New York, and then also up in Minnesota. And so I wanted to make the court aware that the defendant has now been charged with sex charges, multiple additional sex counts in all these jurisdictions, and that should affect what the actual bond is being set in this case. And that wasn't known to the court when we did our bond hearing.
Okay. All right. Mr. Greenberg?
Judge, the first thing I would indicate, although it's not in our written motion, is it's not verified. There's no verified motion to increase bond, which the statute requires.
Okay.
The second thing is there's no legal basis that's cited by the prosecutors to increase the bond. The mere fact that someone may have been charged with other cases in other jurisdiction is not a basis to increase bond. It's not a basis under the statute. It's not a basis under the case law. They don't argue that he's an increased flight risk. They don't argue that he's an increased danger. They don't argue any reason in their motion why bond should be increased. The bond in those other matters has been addressed by the judges in those matters. As the court knows, there's currently, he's being detained